So the thing to bear in mind when doing face plants is that the face plant in and of itself is not a bad thing. Just like sneezing is not a bad thing, unless the sneezing makes you blow your brains out your ears, then it's a bad thing. So what happens because of the face plant, that's what's bad. And on an old custom weld that I had, it was an 89 custom weld, I did a few good face plants on that, and the windows collapsed and the dash was caved in, so I had to beat that back into place with a sledgehammer and a jack, and then learn how to aluminum weld. Actually, on that boat, it really wasn't designed for white water. It just got beat to death and fell apart, and so I spent a lot of time welding on it, so learning how to weld. Anyway, on this HCM, you can see that it's pretty stout. We've got these extra heavy posts at the corners, and then there's some stout bracing across there with the grab rail that adds a little bit more strength. This part is also pretty stout, and then if you look back from this the front posts, you got this thing that extends back, and then you've got the rear post, and that's actually going to support the front post and help keep it from getting pushed back when you're doing face plants. So overall, this setup is a whole lot better. It's a whole lot stronger. So far, I haven't done any super hard face plants, but I have a pretty good feeling about it. Something else about face plants, in my old boat, I would always get soaked. Water would shoot in underneath the canvas here and get all inside the cab. So if it was cold, then well, that was bad. But on this boat, it's designed specifically to help with this. So you've got this ledge here, and so when the water comes shooting up, it smashes into that rather than getting under the canvas. And then the canvas itself is really nice. It's got this kind of neoprene rubber around the edge, so I think that helps a whole lot. So all the face plants I've done, I haven't got a drop of water on me. A little bit of leak in around the edge, over here in the corner, but that's it. So it's actually working out really well, even though this is just canvas. Yeah, here you can see that light that is kind of bent from the face plants I was doing. So you can see this thing is a little bit screwed up, but it seems to be working. Maybe it'll hold together. I got these off of something, an Amazon deal. In the future, I probably wouldn't buy any of these lights, LED lights, from anything on Amazon. They're pretty scammy. I really didn't find anything where I felt comfortable, after the fact, buying anything else. Now, these big lights, I actually got these at Harbor Freight, and you're probably saying, Harbor Freight, that's all crap. Well, at Harbor Freight, you got to know what you're buying. Sometimes it's their stuff is pretty good, and I thought, well, actually, this stuff seems okay, so I went ahead and bought it, and it held up to these face plants, and all the lights still work. So good. Yeah, here's another one of those lights from Amazon, and this one, you can see the mounting system looks a little bit more solid here. This one actually came from AutoZone. Mounting system, it's still a little dorky, but the bracket looks like it's a little tougher, so maybe it'll hold up a little better. And this is the light that came with the boat. It's mounted on the bow, so it's taking some serious hits when doing face plants. So it looks like there's water in the left half of the light, which really isn't a surprise. So maybe I can take that apart and get the water out and figure out how to seal it a little better or something. But it looks like all the LEDs are still working. It's just turned the ones on the left side a little bit more into floodlights because of the water. Well, now we're going to take this light apart and see if we can't get the water out of it and get it dried out. You can see it's pretty clear on this side, but as you go over here farther, then it gets kind of foggy. So it doesn't look like it's completely submerged in water. There's just some water in it. So just unbolt it here and here, and then to make sure I got the orientation right, I scored it right here. So let's go. Okay, I took this little end bracket off, and it came off easy, and no sign of sealant on the bracket itself. But it looks like there might be some in here, so we'll keep taking this apart and see what's up. So I took these off, and there's no sign of sealant on these bracket thingies. Now the threading mechanism is kind of interesting. They've got this groove here, and then they just ran the bolts down through this into this, and the bolts just sort of auto tap themselves into the metal. These holes over here are actually tapped. Okay, so here I've taken this the bracket thingies off completely, and here's the rubber seal that they were holding in place. And rubber seal has some grit on it. You can kind of see, maybe that just leaked in from the river. Either that or it was manufactured in sort of a dirty warehouse, but that seems kind of unlikely. So it could be that this rubber gasket wasn't tightened down really well because of the threading mechanism, where they just let the threads of the bolts cut into the metal. So you probably can't tighten that down very much, or it'll strip this out. That being the case, you end up with a not very tight seal on this gasket. So maybe some silicone would help, maybe not. So there may be things to do to make this a little better. So it looks like there was just a little bit of water, enough to haze up one side of the plastic cover, and there wasn't water splashing out when I took the plastic cover off. This is your plastic cover. You can still see some of the haze there. So maybe just let it dry out and then put it back together, and maybe do a little bit better job than when it was manufactured. And then the obvious solution to this problem is take the light off the bow when doing face plants.